Hey everybody, and hello from Muir Woods. We have spent the week here in the Bay Area visiting reconciling churches in Los Altos and Walnut Creek. And this week I got to celebrate the 25th reconciling anniversary of Walnut Creek. So they've been part of the folks that have been wrestling for justice in our church for LGBTQ folks since before I was born. So it was a really great pleasure for me to be there and to see, these folks who their work out here in the West has definitely impacted my home church and churches around the world who have needed those beacons of hope. So it was a really great time meeting them and hearing some of their stories and the pains of what it was like to be an LGBTQ person before now. I mean, they went through things that, thank God, I haven't had to go through. The struggle is still uphill, but they've definitely tread the path for us. So I'm really grateful for this church and for my time here in the Bay Area and in beautiful Muir Woods. So in a second, you'll get to see some of their great stories. Thanks for joining me on this tour, and I hope to see you next week.
My name is Melissa Pigao, and I attend Embrace Church in Alameda, California. My hope that I'd like to share is for maybe the older people, the wiser, or not wiser, but wise people of the church, as we are praying and are in discernment for what is next for our church. I pray that you find a way that you can support a young person or young people in your community or around the connection, whether that be through prayers, through financial gifts, or through meals. Young people are always hungry and always are ready for a home-cooked meal. And I just pray that you're able to find a young person whose life you can pour into as we go through this process.
Hi, I'm Carol Vincent, retired pastor in the United Methodist Church. And I am grateful for the opportunity that I had in my last appointment to serve a reconciling congregation. I learned what it means to some of our folks to be in this kind of a congregation. We had a out gay leader in our church who taught me something that was very, very touching and important. He said to me, when a gay person drives past the church, they think, there's the enemy. And I thought, oh no, how could anybody think that our church is the enemy? We have to put that rainbow flag on the outside of our building and say, we don't want to be your enemy. Secondly, when I was lucky enough to be pastor there, a young woman came to our congregation and she said, I saw the rainbow flag and I am trying to hide from my abusing ex-husband who is trying to find me, and maybe if this is a safe place for gays and lesbians and trans, maybe it'd be a safe place for me too.
My name is Wayne Kamiya, and this is my wife Marlene. So we're members of Wesley United Methodist Church in San Jose, California. I think it started because, when our youngest daughter came out to us, she's gay, and she came out to us when she was about 18 or so. She's 32 now, but we started kind of getting aware of kind of the issue in the church and things like that. And I think initially it motivated us to join the reconciling committee, the effort to change our church to become a reconciling congregation. And that process took several years, but then we became a reconciling congregation. It's been just a really wonderful thing for our church. The church has become a lot more concentrated on social justice. It's really transformed the church ever since we became a reconciling congregation.
During the time that we were being educated, we were in the reconciling committee. For me, I got so excited and angry actually, because learning more about it and the injustices and the Bible discriminating against LGBTQ. I just want the whole world to know the truth. And I'm excited about your program, and I can't wait for people to learn and to love and to realize the truth.
Hi, my name's Elise Swanson. I'm a deacon at Campbell United Methodist Church, where I'm deacon of Reconciling Ministries. My hope for the church is to find a way to reconcile the differences that have in the rift between the LGBTQ community and the church itself when you go to a Pride event. And that is something that really needs to be brought into the church and shown, to allow the church to see how that can grow and happen. And at the same time, to allow the church to welcome the LGBTQ people in and allow them to spiritually grow and be stronger inside. So it's a helping of each other, and that's what I hope for the church.
Hi, I'm Zane Matthias, and my home church is Walnut Creek United Methodist Church. And I have been at this church for the last 22 of its 25 reconciling years. And this church means the world to me. But I started as a seminary student who 2 years into my program realized I was never going to be ordained because I was gay. And I had to make a decision. What was more important for me? Serving the church, being faithful to myself, or denying my sexuality? And I realized I couldn't do any of those things. So I opted for a career in Christian education. And then the Methodist Church, lovely enough, offers a certified lay ministry program. So I was able to do that program. I'm not ordained, but I get to do everything in worship that I've always wanted to and get to be a part of this community. And I am so thrilled that now we are finally taking this stand and finally saying, it is time. We are done. We need the inclusive love that Christ offers for everyone.
With ministry at Walnut Creek, I came to the congregation, and what they asked for was they wanted a pastor who would support their reconciling ministry. And I had led the Davis United Methodist Church when it became reconciling. So they appointed me here, and I thought it was very, they didn't ask for a great preacher or somebody good with seniors or youth. They asked for somebody who would support the reconciling ministry. So within the first year, it came about that marriages became legal in California, and it turned out to just be a 4-month window in 2008. We didn't know how long it would last or that it wouldn't be forever, but so as a reconciling committee, we planned to sign the marriage certificates because there were several couples who had already had big commitment ceremonies and they didn't want large weddings, they just wanted to be legal. So we signed their certificates in worship, and in worship that day, a Wall Street Journal reporter attended, and she wrote an article which turned out to be on the front page. I think the only article she ever wrote for the Wall Street Journal that was front page news. And it was called When Weddings Are a Career Risk. And it was all about how if United Methodist ministers and United Methodist sanctuaries officiated at weddings, they could be brought up on charges. And lo and behold, when that article came out, a pastor in Bakersfield saw it, brought the complaint to the bishop brought it forward, and went to the Committee on Investigation for a year, various motions and hearings and that kind of thing. And then it was finally dropped because no one in the church would testify against me. The church did not find the wedding certificates and bring them as evidence. The couples themselves would not testify. They never found the Wall Street Journal reporter. And so they decided that the Wall Street Journal was an unreliable source. And that was the end of my prosecution by the church.
And then
My name is Douglas Paul Sibley. When I was in high school, I I felt things were gay, and that's the time I joined the Mormon Church, because they said I could grow out of it, but I was up front with them, and so I went to all the meetings, participated in everything I could. After graduating from high school, I went to Brigham Young University. My first roommate was gay, and I tried to commit suicide. In fact, a number of times in high school. But after my second year, I started working with a member of the Council of 12 Apostles of the Mormon Church in Salt Lake for 3 years, one-on-one. And at the end of the 3 years, I wasn't successful, and he asked if I wanted to be excommunicated. And I said, that's your decision. I'm not asking for it, but I'll live by whatever decision you make.
That I wanted to say is that it was very gratifying to have an organized reconciling committee in a church, because we know that there are other churches around in the area that voted to become a reconciling congregation, and they don't have the same sort of infrastructure that we do in terms of meeting on a regular basis and advocating for those concerns that we have. And so I think that, it's just been so gratifying to be your pastor and being part of this.
That first person that came to us and looked at us as, a LGBTQA plus couple, it was different when you hear it from kind of the horse's mouth, right? Dad talks to you and he's loving and he understands. We talk to you and we know what hate feels like. We know what it's like to come out and be thrown out of your church. Mm-hmm. And we have a little person that not only does it impact us, but it impacts our little person. So that's a really powerful thing, doing Pride in the Park. And you have people coming over almost in tears saying, that guy over there hugged me and told me he loved me, and that's the first time I've heard of them. You have to come to our church because it's insane. It's so awesome, and we love it, and our pastor tells us to love extravagantly, and that's what we do.
We are the Walnut Creek United Methodist Reconciling Ministries Committee, and we are moving forward together.